Alrighty, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be looking at what they call the circular flow of money. So, circular flow of money, and you might see it referred to as the circular flow of income. All right, so either one. And so, just the general idea of this is that uh, when you work and you get paid, the company that you work for pays you, and you take that money and you spend it, and your money goes back to a company, and that company gets your money, and they pay some of it out in wages, which people receive, and then they spend the money. And so that when we look at it, that there is this flow of money between the consumer on one side and the businesses on the other. And so let's go ahead and set this up. This is how it's going to look. All right, and so we're going to call this the households. All right, so we can make a little chimney, a little smoke coming out. And on this side, we're going to call this, make this the businesses. All right, we'll give them like a factory. Looks like a birthday cake, but we'll call it a factory. Let's give it some windows, dress it up a little bit. All right, so factory there. Now, the idea is that these people over here, this is you and I, we have money, we are the households, and when we get money, we buy products and we give it to the businesses in exchange for the product. And when the business gets it, they take that money and they buy things like labor, and they buy materials, and they buy capital equipment, things like that. And we're the ones that own that, so we own our own labor. And so the business gives us money. And so let's kind of look at and see how this works. So we'll use green here. So the household is going to have their money, all right, and they're going to spend it in a market. And so this market up here, let's use purple. Just draw a circle and call this the product market. All right, so this is the product market, MKT for market. This is also called the goods and services market. All right, so when we take our money, we send it through the product market, and what do we get in exchange for our money from the product market? We get goods and services. G&S is going to stand for goods and services. So we take our money, goes into the product market, and in exchange, we get goods and services. So you go to a convenience store, buy a soda, you give them your money for the soda, they give you a soda in exchange. And so we're going to bring that all the way over. So this is going to be the flow of money goes into the business, and we'll call this expenditures. And expenditures is just kind of a fancy way of saying money that you spend. All right, again, this is a real basic version of this, and so if there's anybody out there looking for a more in-depth version, that is another video. So anyway, so again, the businesses send goods and services into the product market. So when you go to the store, think of Coca-Cola. Let's say this is a convenience store. Coca-Cola is going to send the Coca-Cola products to the convenience store, so that's the goods and services. All right, the convenience store will buy them from Coca-Cola. All right, that's the expenditure from the business. And in exchange, when you go, you give your money to the convenience store, basically, and they give you the goods and services. Again, simplified way of looking at it. But all right, now when the money goes to the business, so let's say it's Coca-Cola, they're going to take their money, and what do they have to do with it? All right, in order to make their product, they have to buy stuff. All right, and so instead of using the word stuff, we need to think of what kind of stuff that is. They need to buy land with it. They need to buy labor with it. Okay, that's you and I, our wages. They need to buy capital equipment with it. And they're going to buy some entrepreneurship with it. All right, and so this is called, this market here, so this is a product market, and this product market is where supply and demand happen. All right, so for a product, all right, this is called the factor market, meaning the factors of production. All right, so factor means the factors of production. That's these four. This is also called the resource market because we're buying resources there. All right, so either way, when you see it on a test, this is either the factor or the resource market. So the businesses take their money and they go to the resource market. And what I want the key part of this is the households here, they're the ones who own this stuff, basically. We own the land, we own the labor, in a reason that we're not going to go into here, we own the capital, and we own the entrepreneurship. And so when the businesses take their money, they spend it into the factor market, all right? And so let's just say it's like wages. So that money goes into the households, all right? And so this is income, all right? Now there's a little bit more. Actually, this is wages. They pay wages, they pay interest, they pay rent, and they pay profits, all right? So they pay wages to the labor, they pay interest on the capital, they pay rent on the land, they pay profits to the entrepreneurs. So anyway, it's a lot easier to just think wages. We are the wage earners. And so the businesses pay that. In exchange, what do the businesses get? All right, what do the households give them? All right, and in exchange, they give them the factors of production. All right, that's what F of P stands for. In exchange, they give them the factors of production. If you don't think you'll remember that, just write it all out or write yourself a key somewhere. And so this is really the basic circular flow model. All right, households have the money, they spend it in the product market. That money goes to the businesses. In exchange, the businesses give us goods and services. When the business gets the money, they pay it into the factor market or resource market, trying to buy the land, labor, capital, or entrepreneurship. And that money is income, all right? And in exchange, we sell them back the factors of production. Again, this is in the factor market. Now, this is called a two-sector model, all right? We've got businesses and households. I'm going to add one more sector. We can add up to 5, and it probably gets even more elaborate than that. But when the money, well, let's see. Let me erase this. I'm going to put the other ones in here. All right, but this is the basic circular flow. Now, when we get money, it doesn't just go back. Let me make that a different color. It doesn't just go back into the business, because some of the money goes to the government. All right, so we take some of our money, so we earn the income. Some of the money goes to the government, and it goes in the form of taxes. All right. And businesses, some of their money goes in the form of taxes. All right, and where else does the money go? All right. Well, you know what? Let's just leave it at this. All right, we're going to stick with this 3-sector model. Just so you know, the other money goes to banks, your savings, and some of it goes out to net exports. But let's just follow the KISS principle here and try and keep it simple and keep it short. So this is the basic circular flow of money. All right, now let me give you a problem to work out. So you should be able to look at, what if I said that, I'm just going to draw some of these in. And I want you to see that you can draw this in different ways. So if I said, this is the household, all right, and this is the product market. All right, the trick to doing these, and you might see some like this on a test where it's empty, where the boxes are empty. Always remember that the household is going to spend their money in the product market. All right, and so once you know that, you should be able to fill the rest of it in. All right, so if you want to pause this and then try and fill in the rest of this table, then go ahead and do that. All right, so hopefully you paused it and tried this yourself. But so the household will send money into the product market. That goes into, this is the business. This is our different sector. All right. Then the flow of money continues going around. The businesses, they spend their money in which market? They spend their money in the factor market. All right. Otherwise called the resource market. All right. Then the money goes back to the household. And so remember, this is expenditure. We'll just call this expenditure as well. and this is income. Call this income over here, or wages, either one. Now, this isn't quite done because you need to say what happens, what are we getting in exchange? And so we know that households are giving back the factors of production back to the businesses because they need all those factors of production to produce. And the businesses, what are they giving to the households? They are giving goods and services. All right, so if we wanted to do one more, we can make this the government. And we know that businesses pay taxes, households pay taxes. Now, what do we get in exchange? Here's the good question. What does the government give us in exchange for the taxes? We can just say they give us goods and services as well. All right, so they might pay for healthcare stuff. They might roads and bridges and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, so this is our three-sector model. These are the three sectors. Let me highlight them a bit bigger. These are the three sectors: the business, the government, and the household. All right, and this is the flow. Let me do one quick last thing just to reiterate the point here. If I give you this, let's stick with the same color. Consistency is a good thing. Let's say I give you, let's just draw it out. And let's make this the business. Let's make this, what did we do the last one? The product market. All right, pause this and see if you can do this as well. All right. So hopefully you paused it. And so we know that if this is the business, how do they relate to the product market? Well, yeah, let me just ask it that way. What do businesses do to the product market? They provide goods and services. All right, and those goods and services go to who? And this is where you say they go to the households. All right, and in exchange for the goods and services, this is where the green comes back in. This is the expenditure, consumer expenditure, or just expenditure is fine. All right, and so we know that if this is the product market, then the one up there must be the factor market, otherwise known as resource market. All right, so households, what do they do with regards to the factor market? Do they send money or do they send something else? Hopefully you said they send something else. They send the factors of production. And in exchange for the factors of production, the businesses will send income or wages. All right, and so that would be completing the flow. We can add the third sector of the government here again, and money going in and money coming out. All right, so that's that. That is the circular flow of income, how money flows through our economy. So until next time.